A secret test that wasn't meant to leave the room has now become the biggest story in MotoGP's off-season. In a surprising turn of events, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu's private test session with Yamaha has quietly sparked concern throughout the paddock. What was supposed to be a controlled, low-profile shakedown of Yamaha's new V4 prototype has instead exposed a major problem, one significant enough that insiders say the factory is more than a little worried. As more details surface, it's becoming clear that the test didn't just highlight a technical issue. It raised deeper questions about Yamaha's future strategy, their ability to close the gap to rivals, and the pressure now resting on their star riders. Across multiple conversations with team sources and those present at Aragón, one theme keeps resurfacing. Something unexpected happened out there, and now Yamaha is scrambling for answers. The test wasn't just a performance benchmark. It became a revealing moment that exposed the reality behind Yamaha's ambitious transition. And as more insiders come forward, the story only gets more intriguing. But this is only the beginning. What came next is something few saw coming. To understand why this secret test matters, you have to look at the gamble Yamaha is making at the worst possible time. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu has spent years building a reputation as one of the most aggressive, confident, and technically gifted riders in modern racing. His move toward MotoGP was already attracting attention, but Yamaha's decision to radically overhaul their engine philosophy has added even more weight to his role. After struggling against the dominant European factories, Yamaha committed to abandoning their long-standing inline-4 and developing a brand-new V4 for the upcoming regulations. This isn't just a change in engineering, it's a complete identity shift. The shift demands new aerodynamics, new electronics, new chassis dynamics, and entirely new ride feel characteristics. And when paired with a rider known for his violent braking style and unmatched front-end control, expectations skyrocketed. Yet, industry analysts warned that Yamaha had waited too long to make such a major shift, leaving them with a tight deadline and massive pressure. That's what made this private Aragón test so crucial. Yamaha needed reassurance, momentum, and confirmation they were finally heading in the right direction. But what they got instead was a wake-up call, one that would quickly ripple far beyond the test track. And as it turns out, the findings were what Yamaha hoped for. On November 9th and 10th, behind closed doors and without any official cameras present, Yamaha brought Toprak to MotorLand Aragón for a discreet evaluation of the new V4 prototype. Only a small group of engineers, test riders, and technical directors were allowed near the garage. The atmosphere, according to those present, was a mix of anticipation and anxiety. This was Yamaha's first real opportunity to see whether their ambitious redesign could compete with Ducati and KTM's well-established machines. From the moment Toprak rolled out, insiders say Yamaha's staff watched closely, eager for early signs of progress. But by mid-session, quiet concern began replacing initial optimism. Toprak's body language returning to the pits didn't show excitement. Sources describe it as focused, but noticeably uneasy. Within hours, he reportedly flagged an issue that Yamaha cannot afford to get wrong. The bike's braking behavior and front-end feel were far from where they needed to be. The reaction inside the garage was immediate and serious. Engineers huddled, data was pulled urgently, and the comfortable silence of a private test suddenly shifted into controlled tension. And this was only the start, because the deeper Yamaha dug, the more troubling the picture became. According to sources familiar with the test data, the bike's front-end behavior under braking was the primary concern. Toprak, famous for his ability to brake so late it seems physically impossible, felt that the V4 prototype didn't offer the stability or feedback he relies on. The new engine configuration changes weight distribution, aerodynamic pressures, and chassis characteristics, and the current setup appears to exaggerate the weak points rather than smooth them out. Insiders report that while the straight-line speed was promising, the braking inconsistency made Toprak back off earlier than usual, costing valuable lap time. And when the timesheets were quietly compared to recent race pace, the gap was nearly 3 seconds, a margin that, in MotoGP terms, is enormous. Engineers describe the feedback as direct and honest, which in racing language often means the rider is trying to be polite about a serious flaw. Several sources said Yamaha expected challenges, but not something this fundamental. Losing confidence in the front end isn't just an inconvenience, it's a critical issue that affects every part of a lap. And Yamaha now faces the reality that solving this problem won't be a quick adjustment. it will require structural changes. The big question is whether there's still enough time to fix it. Significance of this problem goes well beyond Toprak's initial feedback. Yamaha is the only major MotoGP factory undergoing a full engine layout reversal while trying to stay competitive. A delay or misstep at this stage doesn't just slow development, it risks compromising their entire 2026 campaign. Riders rely on consistent front-end stability for confident corner entry, and if Yamaha can't deliver that, their new machine may begin its life at a disadvantage. For Toprak, this puts him in an uncomfortable position. He's expected to push development forward, but he's also debuting in MotoGP, where every weakness is amplified. For the team, the concern is strategic. Fixing a core structural issue means distributing resources away from aerodynamics, electronics, and reliability, areas where Yamaha already needs major improvements. Several insiders have hinted that the factory may need to reevaluate its development timeline or even reconsider elements of the chassis philosophy. And within the paddock, rivals are already whispering that Yamaha might be rushing a concept that wasn't ready. The pressure is intense, and each passing test narrows the window before the season opener. But despite the rising tension, Yamaha remains outwardly calm, insisting that this is all part of the process. Whether that confidence is genuine or strategic public messaging remains to be seen. With Valencia tests on the horizon and the 2026 calendar approaching rapidly, Yamaha's engineering teams are now working under strict deadlines. Their immediate focus is rebalancing the V4's front-end load and adjusting chassis stiffness to align better with the aggressive braking-style riders like Toprak demand. But the challenge is substantial. These aren't small refinements. They're structural changes that require time, data, and repeated validation. Meanwhile, Yamaha must also strengthen their electronics package, refine aerodynamics, and finalize engine mapping, all while ensuring reliability meets the new regulations. Toprak's involvement becomes even more crucial now. His ability to pinpoint weaknesses quickly is valuable, but Yamaha must ensure he has machinery capable of translating his feedback into meaningful improvements. Insiders say that the next two tests will determine whether Yamaha enters the new season confident or with lingering doubts. If the front-end behavior isn't resolved soon, momentum could shift toward rival factories already fielding fully matured V4 platforms. The stakes are high, and Yamaha knows the world is watching. What they deliver in the coming weeks may determine the competitiveness of their next era. Toprak's private run at Aragón wasn't meant to stir the paddock, but the major issue he uncovered has forced Yamaha into a critical moment of reflection. The prototype V4 showed flashes of promise, yet the troubling inconsistency in front-end feel has become the center of intense internal discussion. With Yamaha undergoing the most dramatic technical shift in its modern MotoGP history, resolving this flaw isn't optional, it's essential. The coming months will reveal whether Yamaha can correct its course in time or whether this test marks the beginning of a more complicated future. As teams prepare for the next phase of testing, one question now echoes through the paddock. Will Yamaha turn this setback into a comeback, or has the competition already moved too far ahead? Viewers and analysts alike will be watching closely, because the story is far from over, and everything that unfolds next will shape the 2026 grid in ways few predicted.